Hello. I'm Sally, your host. Welcome to the third board, my master's chess channel. In this video, I will show you the conclusion of the game played between the Soviet-Latvian Grandmaster, Mikhail and the Hungarian Grandmaster, Laszlo Szabo, in 1958, Portoroz, Slovenia. If you have not watched part 1, I recommend you watch it first. Just click the link above. So, let's continue the game. As we watched in the last video, in this position, Mikhail had black and played Queen to c4, threatening to invade White's position with the Queen. Previously, I showed you 3 candidate moves for White. They were G takes on f5, King to e3, and Rook to b2. Did you find the best response for White? If White plays King to e3, trying to prevent the Black Queen from coming to d3, the game could continue like this. Queen to a2, Queen to b4, Queen to c2, Rook to c1, Queen to e4 check, King to f2, forced, Queen to d3. And according to Stockfish, White would be slightly worse, but not so much as he will become in the game. Let's return to the original position. According to the engine, the best move here is G takes on f5. And after that, Black would have 2 options. To retake the pawn with the g6 pawn, or to retake with the e6 pawn. Retaking with the g6 pawn, and opening the g file right now, would not be as good as e takes pawn, because rooks would be exchanged rather quickly, and the Black King would be vulnerable without his main defender. The game could continue like this. Rook to g1. Rook takes rook. King takes rook. Queen to e2. Queen to f7 check. King to h8, forced. Queen to e8 check. King to h7. Queen to d7 check. King to g6. Queen takes on e6 check. King to h5. And White would be better. Let's return to the beginning of this variation. If Black retakes with the e-pawn, the game could continue like this. Rook to b2. Knight to a7. Queen to c5. Queen takes queen. Pawn takes queen. Knight to c6. And according to Stockfish, the position would be equal. Observe that, with the g file blocked, and the exchange of queens, both kings are safer, and the positions is much less risky. In the other hand, White has a passed pawn on e5, but it is difficult to use it. Let's return to the game. In this position, Laszlo Szabo plays Rook to b2. This move was a mistake. If the g file is opened now, it would only benefit Black, since White cannot occupy the g file with his rook. Szabo, however, can still save the game if he exchange queens. Mikhail Tal continues with knight to a7. Escaping from the white queen. Tal now threatens to move the queen to d3, without having to worry about the knight. Observe carefully this position. Black's pieces are in good squares. In the other hand, white's bishop is almost dead, and the white queen cannot do much without support. To be fair, black's knight is not in a good position yet. But this will change now. This knight is going to c6, where it will threaten the a5 pawn. And if it goes to c4 later, white's position would be very difficult. I think this position is a good example of good knight versus bad bishop. Black's knight has the potential to become a much better piece than the bishop on d2. Let's return to the game. White continues with rook to b6, threatening the e6 pawn. It was better to play queen to c5, trying to exchange queens. The game could have continued like this. Queen takes queen. Pawn takes queen. Knight to c6. And black would be only slightly better. However, after rook to b6, black now has a clear advantage. Black continues with knight to c6, blocking the rook and threatening the a6 pawn. King to e1. According to the engine, Szabo committed another mistake here. It was better to play pawn to g5. The game could have continued like this. H takes on g5. F takes on g5. Queen to a2. King to e1. Giving the h3 pawn. Queen to a1 check. King to e2. Queen to h1. Bishop to e1. Queen takes on h3. But black's position would still be much better. Let's return to the game. White's two major pieces are far away, and white's king is almost defenseless against the black queen. According to the wise fish, black's advantage now is overwhelming. Tal continues with queen to d3. g5. H takes on g5. F takes on g5. Knight takes on a5. The knight not only took the pawn, it also threatens to go to c4, where it will support the queen. This is much more serious than white's threat over the e6 pawn. White continues with rook takes on e6. According to Stockfish, the best move here is to retreat the rook to b4, in order to take the knight if he goes to c4. This, however, would not save the game either. After rook takes on e6, black continues with knight to c4, threatening the bishop. Bishop to c1. Queen takes on c3 check. King to d1. Queen takes on d4 check. King to e2. Queen to e4 check. King to d1. Queen to f3 check. King to c2. Queen to e2 check. King to c3. Pawn to d4 check. King to b4. Pawn to a5 check. King to c5. Rook to c7 check. It was better to play knight takes on e5, threatening the fork on d7. The game could have continued like this. Rook to e7. Queen to c4 check. King to d6. Knight to f7 check. Rook takes on f7. Queen takes rook. Queen takes queen. And the endgame is lost for white. Let's return to the game. After rook to c7 check, white plays king to b5. Knight takes on e5 check. King to b6. Rook to c6 check. And in this position, Laszlo Szabo resigned. Did you like this game? I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want notifications of more content like this, please subscribe to this channel. My master and I wish good luck in your chess. Thank you, and see you again. Goodbye.